Imagine this. You are a university student. It is May 2026. You have spent the last 4 months of your life exhausted, running on caffeine and 3 hours of sleep a night. It is finals week. Your entire academic future, your GPA, and your scholarships all depend on the exams you are about to take. You open your laptop, you navigate to Canvas, the educational platform used by your university, and by practically every major school on the planet. You type in your password, take a deep breath, and hit enter to start your final exam. But your dashboard doesn't load. Your classes are gone. Your grades are gone. Instead, staring back at you from the screen of a multi-billion-dollar educational fortress is a single, terrifying message, a ransom note, written directly to you, the student. This isn't a glitch. This isn't a server outage. You have just walked into the fallout zone of the most catastrophic data breach in the history of global education. Over 3.6 terabytes of internal data, the personal lives, academic records, and behavioral profiles of 275 million students and teachers across 9,000 schools. All of it suddenly up for auction. Welcome to the terrifying reality of the modern EdTech hack. Hackers have realized that targeting banks is difficult, but targeting the digital infrastructure of our schools is a goldmine. Let's break down exactly how the Canvas platform was completely compromised this month, how the attackers weaponized the psychological terror of finals week, and why a billion-dollar empire was forced into an absolute humiliating surrender. To understand the sheer scale and the absolute terror of this attack, we have to look at who is actually pulling the strings. If you watched our last video, you already know the architects of this chaos. Meet ShinyHunters, the exact same decentralized, ruthless syndicate that recently brought Rockstar Games to its knees. They don't take breaks, and they don't care about your final exams. They care about leverage. But how does a syndicate breach Instructure, the massive tech giant that owns Canvas? You probably think they used a highly sophisticated zero-day exploit to break through a military-grade firewall, right? Wrong. Educational platforms have a fatal flaw. They are designed to be open. They are built for sharing. ShinyHunters didn't break down the front door. They simply created an account. Instructure offers free teacher accounts for educators to test the platform. The hackers registered these seemingly harmless free accounts. But once they were inside the ecosystem, they didn't act like teachers. They used these accounts as a beachhead to silently probe the internal architecture of the platform. They found a vulnerability in how these free tiers communicated with the core databases. They exploited an API endpoint that lacked proper rate limiting and authentication checks. For weeks, they sat in the dark, quietly siphoning data. No alarms went off, no firewalls were breached. Because to the automated security systems, it just looked like educational data moving through the network. They bypassed millions of dollars in enterprise security by simply pretending to be public school teachers grading homework. It is absolutely diabolical. So, how does the actual trap snap shut? Traditional ransomware gangs will lock a company's servers and quietly email the CEO demanding money. But ShinyHunters are not traditional. They are psychological terrorists. They knew exactly what time of year it was, early May, the absolute peak of stress for the American education system, finals week. On Thursday, May 7th, they didn't just lock the servers, they defaced the user interface itself. When millions of students logged in to take their most important tests of the year, they were greeted by the syndicate's ultimatum. The hackers bypassed the corporate executives entirely and went straight to the end users to create mass, uncontainable panic. The message gave Instructure a strict deadline, May 12th. Pay the ransom or the entire 3.65 terabyte database gets dumped on the dark web. This is the ultimate form of leverage. We are not just talking about emails and passwords. Canvas holds the most intimate details of a student's life. Disciplinary records, medical accommodations, financial aid data, private communications with counselors, and real-time location tracking data from the mobile app. If this data leaked, it wouldn't just be a corporate embarrassment, it would ruin millions of young lives. Students could face targeted extortion, identity theft, and stalking. The hackers put a gun to the head of 275 million students and forced the executives to watch. When a corporate victim faces an ultimatum like this, the FBI and cybersecurity experts have one golden rule: never, ever pay the ransom. Paying funds global terrorism and guarantees that the hackers will strike again. But what happens when the hostages are children and university students? The logical thinking of corporate executives completely shuts down. The PR nightmare is apocalyptic. The stock price plummets. And so, on May 12th, the unthinkable happened. Instructure, the multi-billion-dollar parent company of Canvas, broke the golden rule. They issued a carefully worded corporate statement claiming they had resolved the incident and secured assurances that the data would not be misused. In the dark web community, everyone knows exactly what that corporate jargon means. It means they surrendered. They paid the multi-million-dollar ransom. The executives were backed into such a tight corner by the sheer psychological terror of the ShinyHunters that handing over millions in untraceable cryptocurrency was their only way out. They bought back their own data. But here is the terrifying reality of paying a cyber ransom. There is no honor among thieves. Instructure has no way to prove that ShinyHunters actually deleted the 3.65 terabytes of data. They only have the word of a ruthless cyber cartel. The data of 275 million people is now resting entirely on the pinky promise of an anonymous extortion syndicate. So, how do you protect yourself when the institutions you are forced to use completely fail to protect you? You have to take your digital survival into your own hands. We must adapt the zero-trust architecture for the classroom. Rule number 1. Institutional isolation. Your school email and your school passwords must never, ever be used for your personal life. If you use the same password for Canvas and your personal banking app, you are practically begging to be robbed. Assume your school platform is already compromised. Rule number 2. Aggressive app revocation. Canvas allows you to integrate dozens of third-party study apps and plugins. Go into your settings today and revoke access to every single app you are not actively using this week. Every plugin is a potential backdoor to your data. Rule number 3. Data scrubbing. Do not use university platforms as your personal hard drive. Do not upload sensitive personal documents, medical notes, or financial aid forms unless absolutely mandatory, and delete them from the platform the second the semester ends. Reduce your blast radius. And if you are sitting there thinking that your college essays or your math grades aren't valuable to a dark web syndicate, I will leave you with the most terrifying facts of this week. In the last 12 months, cyber attacks against the education sector have surged by over 250%. Schools are now the #1 most targeted industry in the world. A complete student profile, containing academic records, social security numbers, and financial aid data, sells on Telegram for 10 times the price of a standard credit card. And remarkably, even after paying the ransom, companies targeted by these syndicates have an 80% chance of being hacked again by the exact same group within a year. The digital battlefield has fundamentally changed. The monsters are no longer targeting billionaires. They are targeting our schools, our students, and our futures. We track the most dangerous cyber threats in the world to keep you one step ahead of the chaos. Hit the subscribe button to join the NullTrace network. Trust no platform, secure your own data, and I will see you in the next breach.